and welcome back to the More podcast, where we're giving you guys more practical advice, more experiences, more laughs, more entertainment, more all of that. We're so excited to be here for episode 2. And today, of course, I'm joined by Tim and Tiffany Bullocks, the iconic creators of the More podcast. Today we have a great conversation lined up for y'all, but before we get started, let's just reintroduce ourselves just in case people don't know who we are. Maybe this is your first time joining, and if it is, thank you so much for joining us today. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We're new starting out, so every little thing, it really helps us. We're trying to, get there. So Tiffany, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, as she stated, I'm Tiffany Bullocks. We have been married 15 years, so we have 15 years of experience, 15 years and more of experience. And like Erica stated, I'm just ready to dive in deeper and more.
Hi, I'm Tim Bullocks. I've been married to this lovely lady for 15 years, going on 16 years. Super excited to be here, super excited to share Kodak moments about our love, our experience, and our issues. So really want to just share our experience with the world, share our love, and show how much of a commitment that we have and how you can make it in life, in marriage, because it's all about experiencing more.
Okay, period. Well, let's just get into more. Today, I just feel like we should start off with a fun little game.
Okay.
You know, I love games. I'm all about the games. So let's keep this light, fun, and fast. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you guys both some questions, just to see how well you know your partner. So I got some questions lined up here. My best friend ChatGPT generated me some. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask some. Okay. Tiffany, this is for you. What's your partner's favorite go-to comfort food?
Is comfort food good?
30 seconds on the clock.
I'm gonna say pizza.
Okay. Tim, what's Tiffany's favorite comfort food?
It changes by the day. So it really does.
It sounds like you know your partner.
Yeah.
You know your partner.
You know what? I'm gonna say chicken. I'm gonna have to stick with chicken.
Like, what kind of chicken are we talking about? Baked chicken, fried chicken?
Fried chicken.
Right.
Man, you name it. Chick-fil-A, grilled chicken, fried chicken. I'm just gonna go with chicken. I have to say chicken. That's
okay, chicken period. Okay.
Chicken period.
Tiffany, how did you feel? You answer first. So how did you feel about Tiffany's answer? Is pizza your go-to comfort food?
I'm gonna say my second. Now that I've been trying to live a healthier lifestyle, it's been chicken. But in my unhealthy lifestyle, it's definitely pizza.
Okay, like you was doing Pizza Hut, Emo's. If you are not from St. Louis, you have to try Emo's Pizza. It's the best.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan, so yes, I'm gonna go with Pizza Hut. That's all we had. That's all we had. That's all we had was Pizza Hut.
Y'all had no local joints?
It was the country area. Pizza
Hut.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, so Tiffany, was Tim's answer correct? Was chicken, any kind of chicken, Chick-fil-A, all of it?
Yes.
Like Popeye?
I'm trying to stay away from Popeyes.
Okay.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Chipotle chicken.
Yeah.
Chipotle. Okay.
Everything in chicken.
Okay. Cool. I love chicken too, by the way. But it's probably my favorite too. But actually my favorite is wings. Like any flavor of wings,
I ain't think about Wingstop.
Yeah,
yes.
Wings never miss.
Yeah.
Like that's the best kind of chicken to eat, period, in my opinion. Because whether you grill them, you can bake them, you can fry, they're top tier.
Shout out to whoever invented buffalo wings.
Exactly. Like who thought, let's just cook these little
that poor chicken.
Chicken. Okay. So Tiffany, what is your partner's favorite way to relax?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, he could just sit down and be asleep. So he could just rest in a chair and he's just gone and he's just relaxed.
Just
call the hogs.
Right.
Okay.
Just,
You're just out. So no distractions, nothing, no kids. like a big quiet house.
Yeah.
That's what relaxation is to him.
Got TJ yelling on the game,
Yeah.
this,
Okay.
and he's at peace. So.
Okay. Tim, what's Tiffany's favorite way to relax?
Vacation, vacation, vacation. Her favorite time is to relax, whether we in Mexico or we in Florida, and she just has that peace out on the ocean, on the beach, and just can, drink her smoothies and walk around in the sun with the glasses of the hat. That's her favorite relaxation moment. It's being on vacation.
Okay.
Literally.
I literally feel that though. I mean, there's no better feeling than like escaping your reality.
Yeah.
Especially as you guys are married, you guys got kids, you have work.
Yeah.
That's so much going on every single day. So like getting away and relaxing, like that's essential.
Exactly. A change of scenery is her go-to.
Yes, and it's not only good for her to just relax, but it also strengthens your marriage. Just bonding time for y'all. I mean, as long as the kid's not coming on vacation.
Right. They gotta stay home. They gotta stay.
I actually seen a quote, and it was like, if the kids are on vacation, it's not a vacation, it's a trip.
It's a trip.
Period.
Exactly.
It's a trip.
I need a vacation.
A vacation. Okay. They get a vacation.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do an official review. It sounds like y'all both agree with each other. But Tiffany, did he have your answer correct?
He did. I would say that would be my long-term goal for relaxation. But on an everyday basis, my favorite relaxation is taking baths. I hope that's not too much information.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I should have asked you. It's so yeah.
You're not lying because I be on the phone with you. I'm on FaceTime with her all the time, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you in a bathtub? And she's like, yes.
Yeah. At least 2 to 3 times a day.
No, literally.
Like, I'm like, how clean can you get? Like,
it's not about being.
It ain't about
it's for soft life.
It's
a demonstration of soft.
It is. It's
but,
just staying there like for sometimes like an hour or two, and I be
Lord.
getting my sleep in, and I hear y'all on FaceTime. I'm like,
hey,
okay,
that's just my moment.
Yeah. But it creates her taking that relaxation. It creates space for me too, because it's quiet time for me.
That's
so
true.
I think it's.
So you said I'm loud?
No. I'm just saying it's like a double dipper. You get your time and I get my time, and it's great.
Okay.
It's great. Yeah.
Okay, 2 and 1.
Yeah, 2 and 1. Yeah.
I'm
gonna get one free.
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie. When I heard you answer for 10, I thought you left out one big piece of relaxation, a part of his sleeping journey. From what I've heard, by the way, I witnessed their marriage for 15 years.
Yeah, she's been.
I was literally there at the altar. But
and
that's another story. We'll talk about the wedding another time. But where was I going with that? Where was you talking about?
Another thing about my relaxation.
Oh yeah, another part of his relaxation that I thought you were gonna mention was the Tubi movies. Like Tim loves Tubi movies.
Yes.
Like the low budget, like we at the gas station in St. Louis, like with our iPhone recording movies while he goes to sleep. Like, do you even make it through the first 5 minutes?
Absolutely not.
I gotta see the mic on that. We don't give Tubi enough credit.
Okay.
It's not necessarily how it's recorded. It's about the storyline for me.
Okay.
It's the whack corny storylines that I like, because like we like corny a little bit, so it just kind of is relatable. It's not out of touch of its audience. It's like real life. That's why I enjoy them, because it brings reality to you.
Okay. You know? So speaking of like bringing the reality, I don't feel like it's definitely a reality. It touches the Black community in a lot of different ways. But like most of the storylines are literally like, I got away from drug dealing and then I got through a hard time, so I had to go back to drug dealing or go back to the strip club and then go back to prosper, that kind of way too. What do you think about that?
I think it's true. The storyline is that, but remember, it's all about overcoming real experiences.
That's true. That's true.
And sometimes people face drugs. Sometimes people have a hard life. They come from a single parent home. Although we didn't come from that, but the reality is 85% of people come from broken homes.
That's true.
And so they're just trying to cascade a way to get out.
Yeah, that's true.
So I appreciate that fact, and
Mhm.
it gives me a level of appreciation because
That's
I didn't
true.
experience that, but it also allows me to empathize on how I lead people, how I manage people, because if you don't know their story, you can't empathize or sympathize. So
That's
I
true.
think it's related.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And on that, representation does matter, because if we did have only uplifting stories about people from the suburbs that have
Right.
grown up
Right.
in two-parent households, it would be out of touch and
Right.
unrelatable
For
to
sure.
that 85%. So it does make sense. But to jump back on topic,
Yeah.
right? Did Tiffany answer your relaxation question?
She did. She did.
Okay.
Sleep is my go-to. If I can get a moment of sleep, a moment of peace, quiet, that's like heaven on earth.
Okay.
It really is.
Okay. Of this, we're gonna do one more question. I think this is a great question because from the time that I've known you guys both enjoy this activity.
Mhm.
Because unfortunately, I have to be a part of it sometimes. It's fine. Okay. What's your partner's perfect idea of a perfect date night?
I'll let you go first on that one.
Tiffany, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, we both, I believe we can answer the same question, because I mean, we both like the same thing. I mean, our ideal is having a nice quiet dinner, just sitting down in a quiet atmosphere and,
Yeah.
just talking, just, and have a nice dinner,
Yeah.
a good quality dinner,
Good quality dinner.
not Longhorn or,
No. That's not
nothing
quality.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what I would say.
I would say for me,
Mhm.
to get more explicit and detailed, I think we like to dress up.
Okay.
I like to have on my sports jacket,
Yeah.
my jeans,
Mhm.
and really look nice. She like to kind of match whatever outfit I get. She just sneak in and try to get the same color.
Sneaky.
Yeah, she does.
Okay, see, Tim is very observant. I'm not gonna say nosy, but he's very observant. So he be peeking and seeing what I'm wearing and be like,
I do a lot of times on church time. Sometimes I
Okay.
peek, but on date night, she really be trying to peek and see what I have on.
okay.
So going to a nice romantic dinner. I used to eat steak a lot. I kind of slow down on the beef, but
Mhm.
now I try to do salads or something like that. But nice date night that's the lights are dim.
Okay.
I love Roof Chris. We do have the biggest in St. Louis. It's
Oh,
a
really?
3-story
Okay.
Roof Chris, so we go there and then we try to eat restaurants that we never really ate at before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Clayton area, if you ever in the St. Louis area, you definitely want to go to the Clayton Ladue area. They have nice restaurants that's not chained. So we do like to.
Oh.
Yeah, with no kids.
They said we want $5 signs.
Yeah.
And we know that's gonna be the vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like, from the conversation, it looks like you guys both got a 3 out of 3. Like you are really, knowing each other, understanding each other, which I would hope,
Yeah.
after 15 years that you
Yeah.
guys have a really good
Yeah.
understanding of each other. But from there, let's just transition into a conversation about like love languages. Let's do a little test to see if you guys, really understand each other's love language and how that affects each other's lives. But before we jump into that, let's just do a little debrief on what like actual love languages are. So if you don't know, love languages, that's the style of the way that you like to be loved by your partner. There's 4 different ones. The first one is words of affirmation. So that's expressing love through verbal compliments and just affirming words. So I love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Woof, you really whipped up that chicken today. The second one is acts of service. So this is showing love by doing helpful tasks and actions for the other person. So for example, a husband may go and clean out his wife's car, just to do something helpful and thoughtful to take some of the load off of her plate. The third one is receiving gifts. So this is giving thoughtful gifts as a way to express love and appreciation. So that's bringing home flowers, maybe booking a vacation, just catering to your partner's needs at that moment. And then the fourth one is quality time. So that's spending meaningful time together, focused on each other without distractions. So maybe just sitting on the couch, the TV off and just talking about your day, or just going on a walk, whatever that may look like for you, but spending quality time together. So from that, we'll start with Tiffany. So Tiffany, do you feel like you know what Timothy's love language is?
I think I do. I
Okay.
think I do. Some of those is funny because you could pick something from each one of those
Right.
categories, but I think it's a main,
Mm-hmm.
and I think his is acts of service, like
Okay.
just taking care of his needs, or little things that he don't think I think about, and take care of those. I think that like make him know, or help him to know that, hey, she appreciate me, she loves me, she looking out for me.
Okay, so it's just like taking out the load of his plate,
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe ironing his clothes for Sunday service.
Yeah. Just not seeing, all of his piles of suits or whatever, just not being in the cleaners, and hey, babe, I got your stuff in the cleaners, or put your stuff in the cleaners. Or he go to church and be like, oh, my suit's clean,
Okay.
then let him. That's one of the things he like.
Okay, so I failed to mention that there's a part 2 to the question. So what do you wish his love language was? So if you could choose a love language for Tim, what would it be? And I could go through them again. So it's words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, and then quality time.
I would say receiving gifts,
Mm-hmm.
because like I'm a person, I want to see you, you know, uh, I want to see you be appreciative, like I want to
Mhm.
see, oh, you got me this, oh, I'm so excited.
I do that sometimes.
No, I know you do. I'm just saying, sometimes sometimes it's the little things, like going back to the acts of service. You might not say, oh, I appreciate her taking care of this or that, versus if I presented you, actually.
I do agree that sometimes we can undervalue or underappreciate
Yeah.
each other because things just happen off of the norm, right?
Yeah.
And if it's just a flow, like she just does things, it's just systematic to where we get to the point where sometimes we're numb, right?
Mhm.
So I think we can all fall into those categories where you don't really see a person what they're doing until they're not doing it anymore. Like when she go on vacation or something by herself or with her family, like I'm like, I get a separation anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, the things that she normally would do, I'm like, it's not getting done. Then I gotta do it.
Why you
I
doing
want to
it?
do it.
You're like, let me phone a friend.
Right. Yeah. Be like FaceTime, like, how do you do this?
How do I start the washer machine?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
why is the washing machine going? Is it okay? Okay. Well, good answer. Good answer. So Tim, what do you think Tiffany's main love language is?
I'm gonna say this is pretty easy.
Okay.
It is words of affirmation.
Okay.
Words of affirmation. Tiffany is a person that she likes compliments, she likes confirmation. I can give you an example. So every time she cook a meal,
Mm-hmm.
before everybody eats, she would call me in and say, "Hey, babe, come on, your plate is ready," or she'll bring.
She said, "Tim, your lunch is ready."
Right.
Shout out to Miss Netta and Charles.
Yeah. Or she'll send the kid in, "Dad, your food is ready," or she'll come in with a plate or whatever in a room, and she know I'm really tired and exhausted. But every time I get the plate in my hand, I'm ready to eat. Right, my lips be ready, licking the lips, food smelling good, and she always have to stare me down until I get the first bite. Like it's kind of awkward because every time I just take the spoon, she got to sit there and just look, or she'll peek at me like, and I taste. And the crazy thing about it, nothing that she ever cooked for me has been nasty.
Wow.
Never. There was one meal though.
Okay.
That she cooked was so country. I mean,
what was it?
It was like chopped steak.
Oh, it's probably we used to eat that all the time.
Gravy. What else was it? Fried cabbage.
Mhm.
It was like and hot water cornbread. I'm like, this is the most like like we're young, like right. So I'm like, man, I want this meal. Maybe when we get in our 60s, not our. And at that time, we were in our 20s. So it's been a decade or so ago. But I'm like, this is the most countryest meal. But she always looking for. It was good. It was good. But she always looking for affirmation and let me want to know if it's good or not. You know, whatever she do for me, you know, whatever act she do, exploits, you know, she's always looking for affirmation. And I think too, I always tell her too, yes, I always tell her it's an insecurity. It's an insecurity characteristic and trait.
Is it that, or I just want to make sure I'm making you happy or pleasing you?
I think it's a little bit.
Because I mean, interrupt really fast, but sometimes when I don't know if you are picky at all, but if you are picky, then you know the person that is performing the act of service for you, they do, you know, want to make sure that they're doing things correctly for you. So it's not always an insecurity.
So I do admit that I am very picky.
Okay.
Sometimes Tiffany have stated that sometimes my expectations are so high, she don't even know if God can reach it or something like that. I'm like, I don't have that high expectations, but I do have high expectations, and oftentimes it's because I hold myself with high expectations, and I not always reach those expectations as well. But I think that, you know, our expectations should be a measuring stick by which we must climb and keep pushing, because you don't want to plateau in your marriage. If you don't have high expectations and keep raising the bar, you're going to plateau where you start devaluing and not even appreciating each other. And I think that's why a lot of couples break up, because they get so comfortable with each other where they're not pushing each other to the max and to the full capacity.
That's very, very true. I mean, I'm not married, but
yeah,
it's very true.
But it's a relationship, right?
Yeah,
Anytime you're in a relationship,
even with friendships or even relationships, with your parents, etc. Like after you know you do so much for people, or you get into your routines,
that's it,
and you're not receiving those words of affirmations. If you are, you know, a word of affirmation person, then it could feel like something's lacking,
right?
And you never want your partner, to feel lack. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked Tiffany. Is there a love language that you wish that she had instead of words of affirmation? So go back through. Do you need me to go back through them, or you got it?
I'm going to say probably more of a physical touch.
Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Is that one right?
Yeah.
What is it? That's the name.
Yeah. It is. I don't have it up on here, but it touches physical touch.
Physical touch.
Yeah.
Quality time. All that. And not only just because, you know, sometimes, and she's getting much better at it.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't a touchy-feely type of person, and now she is. You know, now she loves for me to hug her. You know, she loves for me sometimes to give her massages or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Holding hands. We like to do that now. But that was a thing we all had to get used to, holding hands. And we're not doing it just to please please anybody or the public. We do it as a sign of affection because we truly love each other. And then when we get done touching hands, we're like, okay, it's enough touching hands.
Right.
let's
Let
go.
me wipe your hands off.
Yeah, especially if it's hot and 90 degrees. Like, we just walk side by side. We're not touching hands.
But to also talk to that point, like, this is who she is to a certain extent. When we was growing up, do not touch me, get off of me. Like I was always a hugger, a lover. Like she would never want anyone to touch her, like ever. So like the fact that, you know, this is growth, like you said, now she has learned your love language in a sense, so she is accommodating to that. And I want to speak on that as well. Do you guys feel like your childhood upbringing affected your love language? So if you were a child and you did kind of neglect love, words of affirmations, did that, you know, is that something that you look for in your partner because you didn't receive it at home growing up?
Yeah, but I like to say though, growing up for me, I think acts of kindness, you should get it on the nail. I think that's a lot what I saw in
Okay.
the household. You know, my mother, she was a domestic engineer, right?
Okay.
She took care of the household. She took care of the food. She took care of our clothes. She took care of the activities. She
Okay.
took care of my father's bills. Although he made the money, she allocated the money and took care of the bills for us. So seeing that, and it showed my dad's a lot of appreciation, because he said, man, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm taking care of the family. There's a whole lot of things that I don't have to do because she carried and muscled the household.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of shaped my perspective on
Okay.
how because everybody say you marry your mother, and
Uh-huh.
there's so many words that's so true. You marry it because that's who's the mirror that you see of a wife.
That's
So I
true.
think that shaped my perspective. But I also seen too, touchy feely a little bit. I seen them hug, I seen them show signs of emotion.
Mhm.
So I see all that too, but I would like to have seen more of that.
Okay.
And so that's what I want to go to and show my children that,
Mhm.
hey, it's okay to hug. It's okay
Yes.
to love each other in public, love each other
Mhm.
on purpose, be intentional. And so I try to show them signs of, hey,
Yeah.
sometimes when Tiffany be walking around the house, I'm like, just to kind of show them that it's okay to have, without being explicit and without going too far, it's okay to, really enjoy your wife, not only mind, not only spirit, but also physicality.
Okay, I definitely agree. So Tiffany, I just asked the question again because I kind of went through it really fast. But how do you feel like your childhood shaped your love language? How do you feel like there was any lack from your childhood that you look for in your current relationship to fill that void?
I would say that's probably why I developed words of affirmation. Just hearing, you did a good job today.
Yeah.
You are a wonderful daughter or a
Mhm.
wonderful sister, or
Mhm.
just that's probably
The reassurance.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
reassurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would like to say that with that, our parents.
You like, give me the
And
mic.
mom, if you watching, I love you.
Right, this is no shade to anybody. Okay.
Our parents, both our parents are pastors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so understanding they give so much to
Mhm.
people in affirming them. So sometimes you get exhausted where you forget to affirm your family. I do that sometimes even at work. I could compliment, I give so many, words of affirmation at work to where I come home, it's finally like, I just need a break. But sometimes I even have to go and stay in the car and like, okay, I did this shift for people. Now I got to do this shift for my family. So that's why sometimes I even take a break in the car, because it's like, okay, let me reset myself because I have to go now and do it all over again, but I got to do it at home. But we got to understand that our first priority is home. So we can never allow our jobs or anybody else to take the first priority of family. So sometimes we have to remember that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And the reason I asked that is because, people talk about their childhood traumas and stuff a lot lately. And a lot of people, 85% of people, like you say, do grow up in broken homes. And with that comes a lack of something. If there's not a mother and a father in the house and they're not receiving that love, they're lacking something. So they usually gravitate to a partner that can fulfill what they lacked in their childhood. So if you guys are, single, if you are married, make sure that you are catering to your partner's love language, because it's deeper than just, oh, I like to be touched or I like to be affirmed. It's way deeper. It's a lot deeper.
That's good.
Period.
That's good.
Okay, cool. Like, we thought we just broke the ice. Right? Good, right? Okay, should we do one more question just to like keep it going? Because this is good. I like this. Okay, cool. So speaking of that, let's just that was a little deep. So let's go back to something a little bit more fun.
Okay.
What is your partner's biggest pet peeve?
Go ahead.
Man. Okay. So it's this long list. No. Now this kind of threw me off for a loop. What is my partner's biggest pet peeve?
It's okay, we can
No,
anything.
yeah, I'm going to say just basically being corrected.
That's mine too, I ain't gonna lie.
It's being corrected. She is like a Pisces, super emotional, super sensitive, and hate being wrong. Hate being wrong. And it's okay. I think we all hate being wrong to a certain degree, but she hate being wrong. So I'm gonna say anytime I give a rebuttal, that will be her biggest pet peeve in certain ways. If you wanted to deal with us. Now, if you wanted to deal with the family, you know, her biggest pet peeve with the kids or something like that, you know, is not clean because she's a very clean person, very
Okay.
clean. And so they leave stuff around the house messy. She's like, come on, y'all need to do better. Y'all didn't grow up like this. And so, you know, she's a very clean person, very clean. So that'd be her biggest pet peeve. Sometimes she even get on me, like sometimes I'd be working and I, you know, throw my shirt on the iron board. She's like, the hamper is just right there in the corner. All you have to do is just put it in there. You know, not that I'm messy, but it's just like, yeah, that's just like something I do.
You say you're not messy?
Not to that degree.
No.
You're messy, yeah, I'm probably messy, but the average person, I'm really clean. But her standards and expectations so high. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if Kevin gonna be that clean like she. Like, I don't even know.
Oh my gosh. Well, I actually, before you pass the mic, I actually want to connect some dots for you.
All right.
So we just talked about love languages, and one of her love languages was words of affirmation. So a reminder that I appreciate you, blah, 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 blah. So you have, I mean, in my opinion, just thinking about love languages and structure, I think in a sense, if a person who's love language is words of affirmations, when they are receiving criticism, it's important to make sure that the balance is there. Because if you're criticizing more than you're giving words of affirmation, at that point, that partner can feel like, okay, I'm not doing anything right. I'm a problem apparently. But so it's like good to have a healthy balance of that. Because I feel like that can offset your relationship. And that goes for all of the different love languages. I think, doing questions like this with your partner really allows you to like connect the dots and really, be like, oh, okay, that makes kind of sense or whatever. Sorry, that's just a point that came in my head about that too.
That's good.
Or even about the kids. I think it's good to dive into good conversations about your childhood and upbringing and stuff too, to really understand where your partner came from.
Right.
Because it's not always just your partner. Like I said, everything's a step deeper. It's really understanding like, okay, Tiffany's a clean freak. But her mama was a clean freak times 10. So it just passed down from generation to generation.
And as you try to even escape, you try to say, well, I ain't gonna be like my parents. I ain't gonna be like this, how I grew up. But you end up being that. It's just times two. You just got a different route and a different method, But I appreciate, those upbringings, because it instilled foundation in us.
Absolutely.
And so without foundation, you can't build structure.
Exactly.
So I appreciate foundation.
And I just think that's a good point to bring about too, because it's like a lot of times people want their partner to change. They like, I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But it's deeper than just changing. Like we are having. This is something that's instilled in your partner. It's something you have to work through. It takes years
for sure
for it to evolve into what your partner, or compromising.
And you gotta hit the 5-year mark. Like
really,
you gotta hit the 5-year mark, because the first year is just simply, getting to know each other. Second year, okay, you're becoming more comfortable. But that 5-year mark, you can look back and say, all right, we've made it. We've made it half a decade.
Right.
I know you, and you'll just start seeing things get better.
Uh-huh.
And if they don't get work, even the business, think about it from this standpoint. Even the business, they always project themselves to have 3 to 5 years to see if they're going to actually make it. Or are they going to be in a deficit, or they're going to be in a surplus? And so if they don't make it between the 3 to 5 years, they shut it down. And so if you don't make it in the first 3 to 5 years, you got to really, really consider something, whether it's counseling. I'm not saying give up. The reason why I don't want us to give up, because marriage is the only license that don't have an expiration date. So don't give up on your marriage. Keep fighting for it. Keep scrapping. If you got to crawl, if you got to run, whatever you got to do, just to keep at it. But try to do something to work out and get it fixed.
Yeah, I mean, marriage, like a lot of things in life, it's just not linear. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows
Nope,
all the time.
nope.
And I feel like I don't know why childhood just keeps coming up, but like speaking of childhood, we're primed from a young age. We're in
Yeah.
Orlando, it's Disney.
Yeah.
You have these fairy tale ideologies of how marriage is supposed to be. We're going to have this grand wedding, and then after that, we're start having kids. We're going to take family vacations.
Yeah.
But like those movies, they didn't show you the nitty gritty,
No.
the hard work
No.
between the times where you can't stand your partner, the
Yes.
times where you like, ugh, why did I choose
Yep,
you?
yep.
Right.
But I think it's important to just, really understand your partner to the core and have some grace and compassion
Correct.
with your partner
Correct.
as well.
Every scene in your marriage is not going to be PG-13. Sometimes it's going to be rated R, sometimes it's for adults only. There's going to be some raw moments, edit moments, and there's going to be some tough times. So you have to learn how to get through, the rain and the vicissitudes of life, for sure.
Absolutely.
And then I feel like a grounding piece for that as well is just to, constantly remind yourself, like, we're all humans. We are bound to make mistakes.
Yeah,
As much as I want to nitpick on everything that you're doing, I'm not perfect either.
No.
Like like your pet peeve with Tim, can't compare to his 10 for you, or just stuff like that, especially after you guys have passed the 5-year mark.
Yeah.
You know each other so intimately.
Yeah.
You know each other's every next move.
Mhm.
You know what the eye roll means. You
Yeah.
know what all of it means. So like, taking all of that into account and just really understanding your partner and the way that they love. I feel like if you understand the way that they love, you can always bounce back in
For
some
sure.
capacity.
For sure.
But I know we're gonna get back to your question. I'm gonna have you answer too, but I have a question for both of you guys too, before we move on. Do you feel like your partner's love language can change over time? So let's say he may love, let's say he loved words of affirmation or words of service now, but he went through a hard time. He may shift to something else. So do you believe,
Absolutely. I believe, we're always evolving and, always changing. So, right now his love language is acts of service, but I mean, I could see it evolving into something else. Just through life, life, throw curveballs. So yeah.
And I seen it through, other relationships, our parents been married 56 years, something like that. Mine was married 46, 47, something like that. So I've seen it change. I've seen it change where as you get older, you get more sensitive.
True.
That's true.
You get more sensitive, even myself, where I used to have this wall of sensitivity. Now I feel myself feeling things more.
Okay.
Where at one point in time, I never cry, but sometimes I'll have to pull over, on the side of the road and just shed some tears, if it's nothing but life transition, going through grief, going through, work related situations. Sometimes I feel myself just changing. So Tiffany was right. We evolve over time, but I think you have to identify that with your spouse and give your spouse some space and increase the tolerance to allow each other to grow and change.
Yeah,
that's so.
And on that note, it just made me think, early on in our marriage, I was more, I'm still sensitive, but I was more sensitive, like, just every little thing just made me cry and, and it wasn't so much of him. I'm just saying, I was just like a crybaby. But as the years have grown and I've grown older, you start to, it's opposite. I'm starting to be more stronger where it takes a little, I get upset now. Don't get me wrong, I get upset. But it takes a lot for me to like actually like break down and cry like I used to. So.
And it doesn't take much for me to break down. Yeah.
It's real crazy to see the different dynamics, but I just feel like that comes with time. Like you say, that 5-year mark, I just feel like that is very significant.
It's crucial.
Because it's just like I feel like with you being so sensitive to Tim with everything, you were getting to know him still,
Right.
and of course you're going to be sensitive maybe you didn't understand he was just coming home from work and he had a long day and he'd been talking all day. So maybe he didn't feel like talking that day.
Yeah.
So you're internalizing it as, oh my gosh, you guess you didn't want to talk to me. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
not saying it like you were like that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general. So it's great to see like over time, it's like you learn your partner
You do.
more and more and more. So you're able to adapt
Mhm.
to their sensitivity. So I think that's really great as well. But we'll go ahead and ask you, sorry, it took 13 years, but Tiffany, what is your partner's biggest pet peeve?
This is easy.
Not that easy. It can't be that easy.
Tim hates to be embarrassed. That's his pet peeve. Like,
Really?
Ah,
he just hates being embarrassed. Like,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
it just, if you want to push him over, just
Okay.
get him embarrassed. Yeah.
Did you have a bad experience or something one
No.
time? Did you get really embarrassed or?
it's not a bad experience. I hate the spotlight being on me.
Oh,
I don't want all
okay.
the attention on me.
Got
Like,
it.
I don't even know. It's amazing how sometimes you're pushed to your destiny is the very thing that disturbs you.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pushed to positions where I'm always in the spotlight. And I just hate being in the spotlight all the time. And so if we're at a restaurant, if we're eating with friends, do not be loud. You cannot eat with me and be loud and everybody looking at us around. I hate being embarrassed. I will literally walk out, leave my money and walk out because I just hate being embarrassed. And I believe too, whatever, anytime we perform something, whether that could be preaching, that can be, doing something for other people, I think it should be preparation. So if you properly prepare, you won't poorly perform.
Okay. I did not expect that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just knowing you all of these years, I wouldn't have thought like that was your biggest pet peeve. Or I didn't even know that was a thing with people. Like,
It gives me anxiety.
really?
Oh, to the max. 'cause
Okay,
I
I
just-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to
I know,
say,
yeah,
baby,
go ahead.
calm down.
Yeah,
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, she's like.
Yeah, I know the preparedness
Breathe.
factor, because
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
talked about that. I mean, because we're the same in that sense. I love a plan, a good
Yeah,
plan.
good
We need to
plan,
know what we're
execute it.
doing,
Right.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
for
I
sure.
need the minute details of everything,
Yeah.
you know. But let's just get into when things don't go your way. So let's say you did get embarrassed, and I'm gonna give y'all real life, because we're talking about more
Yeah,
experiences.
yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a real life experience. So maybe you guys were out to eat and it's, you know, that quiet environment, is date night, and it's just you and Tiffany, the dim light. She gets up to go to the bathroom, but for whatever reason, you guys know like the white tablecloths.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it came off, all of the food fell on the ground, the water spilled, and Tim is sitting there stuck and frozen, and he's just like, he gets his wallet out, he's like, and the car ride home. What's happening there? Is there confrontation? Is like, how do you?
You got me sweating already. You got me sweating.
I'm gonna ask you first, though. This is your question first, Tim, because I want to know what your mental process is. How do you calm yourself down from that situation? And then how are you going to interact with Tiffany, who is sensitive and needs words of affirmation of, oh, babe, I understand it was an accident, etc. So what are you doing? What's your mental process?
So in that moment now, I'm still growing.
Yeah,
I'm still growing in that because that is a big pet peeve. Like, first of all, I would say if she dragging that big old table, I'm like, Tiffany, like, what are you doing?
Yes, he would be so
I'm like, what is
mad.
going on? Because everybody will be looking at us. And I'm like, oh my God, especially the restaurants we eat in eloquent restaurants. So people gonna be like, see. I'm like, no, don't do this. And then I'd be like, are you okay? And then I'd be hurry up, try to pick up, and the waitress I know I can see, they be coming up, we got this stuff. I'm like, no, let me get it. Like, I have such anxiety. I even clean up the table and straighten up the table before I leave the table. I mean, like literally, and that conversation would be at home, like, see, can't take you nowhere.
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel in that moment? Let's go back and forth.
We being real, right?
Yeah,
Being real.
Raw
Real.
and
That would
authentic,
get-
okay?
I'm telling you.
Okay, Tim would be so Tim, you know, you'll be just so upset. Like you just gonna be like, oh my God, I just can't believe that happened to you. You're like, what was you doing? Like, you just used the bathroom at home. Like he would go down, he would definitely go down that road, like find every way instead of just saying, babe, it's okay. It was an accident, you
Right.
know. We don't know these people. The people don't know us. It's no big deal, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically in that situation, do you feel like Tiffany would need to know how to shut up in a sense? Not saying it like you need to shut up, but I'm saying in that moment where you're sensitive, you're going through a moment. Would you want her to be apologizing? Tim, I didn't mean to. It was just an accident. You know, her to defend herself in that moment, or should she respect you and be like, okay, let me just let him work through his little issues and he'll be back.
Because she know it's my pet peeve. I think by us knowing each other, I think she would need to just take a step back and let me just get it out of my chest. I got to get it out of my system. I got to get it out of my system because it's just building up. Like my anxiety, I'm telling you, my anxiety is on a 10 when it comes down to embarrassment. Like it is crazy. It's on a 10. Like I don't know if I need to take anxiety pills or something. It just goes on a 10. Like my blood pressure, heartbeat,
Really?
like crazy. It's just like I just get off of elliptical or something. You know, I think yeah, I think she'll at least have to let me get that off my chest,
Mhm.
and then let me, let me get myself together. Then I will say, babe, it may be all right. It's over and done with.
After you then.
After I got it all out, because those like that is something that I'm still working at, just
Yeah.
dealing with embarrassment like
Mhm.
that. Not that we have embarrassment moments, but
Yeah.
something like that. And I really don't care what people think. It's
Mhm.
not that. I just don't like the limelight on me. I
Okay.
just don't like all eyes on me.
It's that
I ain't
serious.
Tupac. I don't like all eyes on me.
It's that
Okay.
serious.
It is that serious.
So would you how if the tables was flipped
Mhm.
and this happened to you, how would you expect me to act? Like,
But
would
like a lot of times,
see,
not,
always
hold on,
That's
99.
the infamous
No, no, no.
but.
That's right. Tim is Mr. Perfect.
I'm not Mr. Perfect, but 99% of the time, I'm going to like make sure I scoot out. I'm gonna make sure I do.
He
I'm
takes
telling
his
you,
precautions
I
to avoid
do.
embarrassment.
I do.
Okay,
And
right.
when it doesn't, when it fails after precautions, I then own it because I know I took every precaution I could. That's the thing about me. Like I'm always thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead of what could happen.
Over something so minute as like getting
Get
up to
up
go to
and
the
go-
bathroom,
Yes.
your brain operates like that.
It does. It's
Wow, that's
weird.
great.
Like
That's great.
when I get up from somewhere,
Mhm.
whether any setting, I'm looking at my surroundings. I'm looking at, okay, do I have a way to get out? I'm a heavy set guy, so do I have a way to kind of shuffle through? Or if I can't shuffle through, then hey, I'm gonna just have to sit here and
Mhm.
wait to use the bathroom. I'm gonna do whatever I can. I'm gonna just take every precaution because I just don't want the light on me.
That's it.
So
It's so crazy.
Let's go back to the insecurity. Do that
That's
sound
it.
like a little
Yeah.
Insecure.
That's what came to my head too. Until he defended himself and said, "It's not a people thing about people."
Mm-mm.
But in a sense, that was the first thing that came to my head. I was like, I felt like it was an insecurity of the light being on you, that you didn't like the pressure of it, because
Right.
it has to be the pressure of the light being on you, or you not performing correctly.
But
That
I operate better under pressure. I do. She can tell you, don't I operate better under pressure?
By going to the bathroom.
Now go to the bathroom. Now, hey, that's a pressure moment. Yeah, you release the pressure, but I operate better under pressure. So I don't know how to identify that.
Okay.
Maybe I may need a counselor to kind of channel me through that.
I think I hear a little insecurity.
Yeah.
It could be.
But okay, but that goes back
Which
to
everybody have an insecurity when it comes to something. So
Right.
I hate the negative connotation that insecurity has in general, because you think of insecurity and you think
As
of
a
just
negative thing.
annoying, nagging,
Right.
like, oh, you're so sensitive,
Right.
Right.
But no, everyone has,
Subconscious.
Yeah.
insecurities. We're human.
Right.
You
Right.
know.
And it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Okay, take the Mr. Perfect hat off just for a second. Just for a second. And tell me, how would you, just knowing that you did everything right, you got up in the right angle to, avoid a mistake, but it happened anyway, how would you feel? How would you want me to feel? Or not, I'm sorry, how would you want me to relate or not relate, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, you know me. I would want you to have sympathy and empathy on me.
Of course.
That's just what it is. I'm like, Tiffany, it was one mistake that I made.
But I wouldn't react. Like I said, I would say, babe, these people don't know us and we don't know them.
Right.
Who cares?
Right. But again, it ain't your pet peeve.
Yeah.
And it ain't something that you're dealing with. It's something that I have to deal with, and I have to work on it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's from all of this, I'm just getting that it's so important to be sensitive to your partner and the way that they operate.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, like while the situation is already heightened and escalated, you can take it to a like a tsunami level setting, just by your reaction to them. So I had said it's like you have to know when to shut up, but in a sense, you really do have to know when to shut up, unless you are going to escalate the situation.
Yeah.
Or it don't even have to be like shutting up. It has to be times when you guys, do have a little conflict, in your relationship, and you have to step out and go to a different room before words are exchanged, not things getting physical or whatever.
Right.
But if you are in a relationship where things getting physical, definitely remove yourself.
Please.
But like you have to remove yourself. You have to go just clean the dishes. You have to just go sit in the car or
take a break,
take a drive. So that's what I want to get into next. Kind of just talking about navigating each other's sensitivities and like just things that have helped you learn your partner's sensitivities over the years and overcome those sensitivities, which I understand is a lifelong thing, because what you're sensitive about today you can overcome tomorrow, and you have a new sensitivity. So I want to just pick your minds and see, how do you guys work through sensitivities in your relationship?
Well, I think it's just, you in a marriage or in a relationship, it's just, the key is just really getting to know each other, just really learning your spouse, your husband or your wife, or just really, really learning them, like for real. Like you in school, you gotta.
That's true.
Sitting
at the desk.
Yeah. You gotta take tests,
Oh my God. Yeah.
And be like, okay, I failed that one,
But
next time, right? Pop up
quiz. Something that you didn't even know about. Like,
Right.
I didn't know about this.
Exactly. But no, for real, it's just really important just to learn each other, because and it comes through experience, it comes through years. I know Tim well enough to know when he comes through the door, if he didn't had a good day or if he didn't had a bad day. Now, if he didn't had a bad day, okay, I'm letting him chill. I'm letting him decompress, or however that is, however, what'd you say?
Telling the kids, go in your room and sit down.
Right. I know that, okay, he needs his time. I'm gonna let him, have his time. And I know when he's had a good day, okay, then we can communicate, how was your day? Vice versa. He asked me how my day was and what's going on, but but that comes through time. You gotta really, like I said, really, really pay attention. And that's what I would say is the key. Just pay attention to each other, so you will know and avoid those, not those signals, those body languages that come. Like I said, I know, okay, let him have his time.
I think just creating a self-awareness,
That's cute.
create a self-awareness with, your spouse and yourself, understanding where that person is coming from, because we all have very sensitive moments. Right now, I think sensitivity comes in seasons too. Right now, I'm dealing with grief of my mother. And Tiffany is so sensitive to that, to the point where she's more aware of it than I am. So sometimes I'm going through the motion, and you can get tunnel vision when you deal with grief. You get tunnel vision and you just go on with life. And Tiffany have to stop and ask me, hey babe, I'm just checking on you. Are you okay today? You know, how you doing? You know, what can I do for you to, you know, make it better? And she's always, you know, very sensitive. Like she's so sensitive at the beginning of when I lost my mother. Like sometimes when her mother called on the phone and it came up mother, she started taking it off of Bluetooth, you know, and not that I had an issue with it because I wasn't there, but she was just trying to protect my sense, my emotions. She had enough emotional intelligence where she knew that it could trigger me. And so trying to protect each other's triggers, you know, not just trying to have them protected, but our job is to help cover, you know, protect each other triggers and remove the barriers of what possibly could be. And so having that self-awareness is key.
I 1000% agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like by knowing your partner and working at those sensitivities, that's how you continue to overcome the real experiences that you go through. And once you guys are no longer sensitive, that's when those situations can arise. You know, the conflict that you experience, a simple situation can escalate to level 10 because there's no, you know, sensitivity there anymore. So, you know, I just think it's powerful to know, you know, what to do when you're lost. And, you know, you've gotten so far past sensitivities with your partner and you don't even know how to get back to that level of being able to care for that person anymore. Because I do believe like after sensitivity can expire. And after a while, that person can get so used to you not being sensitive to their needs that they put a block up.
That's
right. So how do you get that block back down? You know,
and then communication stops. And that's where marriages start breaking up and having breakdowns because that person feel like this is no longer a safe space for me. This is no longer a place where I can pour out. You know, because oftentimes we love, you know, being poured into, but can you be that person that can just pour out when somebody pour into you and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's going on, and there's a judgment-free zone. You know, because oftentimes we get judged at work, we get judged at church, we get judged in the store, we get judged at the restaurant if we get up and walk off with the tablecloth, we get judged everywhere. But you need a place, you know, of peace where there's no judgment. And you can just express yourself. And I think that is key to a marriage.
I just want to insert too. I think having self-control is good because even though, you know, it may be days that I really had a bad day and I really do want to talk, you know, having that self-control to say, okay, I'm gonna put, you know, my needs aside, not to say they won't get, you know, attention, but not just at that time, you know, and and it's easy to say, no, I want to talk now, you know, and just disregard whatever his day. And in our home, like I said, it's just not like dogmatic or anything, but he is the sole provider. So I have to be sensitive to that. You know, like, okay, I'm gonna put myself down, or not down, but put myself aside and say, okay, we'll pick my little situations up and see to him. I'm not gonna disturb his peace.
There's another great quote that just resonated with what y'all said, and it's just kind of like, not every action deserves a reaction. You have to know when, you know, that emotional intelligence, that sensitivity, all of that plays key into knowing when something is worth it. And not every moment is the right moment, you know. He came home from work and he had a long day, but he left his shoes at the front door before he went to work, and you all day he was like, "Ooh, I can't wait to tell him he left this." You know, but if you come home and you do that and add that on top, you're cruising for a reason, you know. So
and one key thing to a marriage, learn how to read the room. Learn how to read the room, because like you said, every, you know, action doesn't need a response.
Mhm.
You know, you got to learn when to respond and when not to respond. Because there's times where it just ain't the right time, the right place, the right atmosphere, you know, and so you want to make sure that you mold your marriage and learn how to read each other and read in the room and the environment, because you can cause a catastrophe
Yeah.
by just saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's self-control, like you kept saying. But so do you guys feel like, I mean, going back to it, that couple that's really struggling, that couple that has lost their sensitivity, so at this point they're walking on pins and eggshells with each other, do you feel like communication is how they solve that? Because that's a hard barrier to build down when both defenses are up. You know, how do you rekindle? So you guys have any tips or anything for rekindling that?
My tip would be sit down at the table, peace and quiet, where there's no distractions. Put the phones on silent, turn the TV off, and make sure each person is allowed to say something without any interruption. And say, this is how I feel. And I want that other person that's hearing, the one that's receiving the information, to get a pen and get a paper and jot down some things, because oftentimes we hear, but we don't listen. And when we listen, we sometimes listen to respond. And that's not the time to respond. Let that person get how they're feeling out and make sure you're taking notes. And you study those notes, and vice versa. Do the same thing. You study those notes and you make sure you intentionally get better, because marriage is all about intentional effort. You have to intentionally do it. You have to practice, because when you practice something, it takes 21 days to build a habit and 21 days to break a habit. So when you're practicing and you're building those relationships and you're building, you know, those characteristics, you can help that person be able to feel again and say, okay, now this is safe space, because now I'm listening and I'm hearing this person. I'm empathizing on how they feel. And so therefore you can have that piece where I can just pour out into that individual.
I agree. I wanted to, what do you guys think if it's a person that is all for that, sitting down at the table, getting everything off, but the other person don't want to, the other spouse or whatever, don't want to, they not there yet. So do you like give them time, like, or how you go about that? Do you still get off your chest what you need to, even though that they not ready?
I think you need to get it off your chest, because it's a sense of release.
Okay.
You know, sometimes even if you know the situation, have you ever been in a situation where you know it wasn't gonna change, but all of a sudden you said, at least I got it off of me.
Yeah.
It's something about just getting it off of you and saying, okay, I said what I said, I left it out there. It's your job to take hold to it and try to change it. But that person has to get it off you. It's like a burden. It's like a weight on your shoulder. It is nothing like weight, because if we don't get weight off of you, weight will break you down mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. So I think
you're saying even if it's not for you both, just for you.
Yeah, even if it's for you. That's even forgiveness. It ain't for you, it's for me. It's to get it off of me and unlock the doors of my emotions, unlock the doors of my bitterness. You know, so I think it's still important to get it off your chest.
Good.
I think to that point too, it's really important to understand your partner's communication style, because even if sitting down, and just hashing it out, like if that's not your style, cool. If you need to write a letter to each other, like write a letter to each other.
Send a text message out, send an email.
Some people have a hard time processing their emotions or learning how to say things correctly without them being perceived the wrong way.
Yes.
Because they always talk about the I feel statements versus you do X, Y, and Z. Like, I feel like you don't give me enough attention versus you don't give me enough attention. Like, that's two whole different vibes. So you really do have to learn how to effectively communicate, because there's communication, then there's effective communication, Yeah, but I mean, at this point, I feel like we've all come to the conclusion that you know, even if you are in a hard space, you
Yeah.
can bounce back from anything.
Yeah.
You know, with just time and understanding and learning your partner's
Yeah.
communication styles, their you know, their love habits, their styles, their sensitivities, you know, that's gonna help you better understand your partner and better cater to their needs.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to know, you know, your love styles, how you guys love to receive love, and then also your methods for combating confrontation and, you know, lack of communication and all of that. And once again, we do thank you guys
Yeah.
for tuning in to today's conversation. I kind of want to keep it going, but we're gonna give y'all part 2.
Right.
So come back for the next episode because we got
Good, it's gonna
more.
be juicy.
We got more. We got more
Yeah.
great conversations coming. And please like, comment, subscribe, share on Facebook. We put out short reels on Facebook, and then we also have a TikTok account too, which I'll tag. But yeah, definitely tune in to the discussion. We want it to be a community
Yeah.
where, you know, marriages, whether you're single or you want to be married, or if you're already married, or if you are in a relationship, whatever your status is, we want to hear, you know, what's going on in your life so we can talk about it. And if there's any topics that you guys want to hear us talk about, definitely let us know too. But we thank you guys.
Thank you.
You guys have any closing remarks for the people? Or are you guys good?
I think we're good. I just want to insert, just roll up your sleeves and just put in the work. You know, it's gonna be worth it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, okay?
Yeah,
It's marriage, a commitment.
No expiration date.
No expiration date. And remember that again, you know, marriage is the only license in the world that does not have an expiration date. So keep fighting,
Keep
you
fighting.
know, keep moving forward because God has more for everybody.
Period. We've spoken. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See ya.
Bye.